Hello everybody, this is Sean with Fairly Local Plumbing. Today I'm going to show you how to build and install a pedestal lab sink. So I like to do this on the back of my tailgate only because it's a lot easier. I can stand up, I don't have to be on my knees. So we have our faucet. Today we have a Moen faucet. Fairly simple, 4-inch spread. We have the drain assembly and some tools we're going to need. We have a tightener for the nuts for the bottom of the sink. You can also use channel locks to do the same thing. We have Teflon paste, and we have plumber's putty, which I've already rolled out and have ready. So first thing we'll start with is the drain. Let's take our putty, push it onto the drain here. Just kind of squeeze it so that way it doesn't want to move around. For our drain assemblies, it's going to go tailpiece. We'll screw into there, and then this will screw together. This will go inside the sink, and this will screw into it. What I like to use is Teflon paste, or pipe dope, we call it. It's basically a lubricant. It just doesn't need very much. Just something to keep it moving, and it also acts as a seal. So it makes it easier to screw together, and it will protect a little bit from water leaking. Put that all together. So here's our sink. So we're going to set this drain inside here. And we're going to screw it into it. Now you can see right here is a hole. This drain assembly is going to be going towards the back. This is where your stopper is going to go in there. This is going to hook into the stopper, and this is your lever that attaches to the faucet here. Your pull lever to pull that drain up and down. So as a rubber gasket here, we just want to get that pushed up onto there. Make sure this is pointing towards the back. Get hand tight for most of the turns. Just take our channel locks. We'll tighten it down. I like to have mine pretty tight. If you get it too tight, I mean, you can obviously, depending on your strength, you can skip a thread, or if it's a plastic drain, it can skip the drain threads, which means that nut will just keep slipping back, slipping back, slipping back. This one's metal, so we don't have that problem. Like I said, I want it to be firm. We don't need it to be over tight. You don't have to be a He-Man. So we'll remove that extra putty that's on top. So now here, we got our drain ready, pointing towards the back where the faucet's going to be. So when we have our drain here, drain has a different side to it. So this part right here, we want that to be towards the back side, also towards the faucet side. That way when we put the assembly in, it's going to be easier to catch it, and that's going to move that up and down like so. So we'll put that inside. We'll unscrew our packing nut here, and usually inside of it, like just right now, there's a little gasket. I want that gasket to go in there first. Then we put our lever here. We make sure that we see the hole in there that catches that drain. You see inside there. We want that to reach inside there and catch that drain so we can move up and down. We take our packing nut, put it back on, tighten it down. You can put some Teflon paste there if you want. It does have a gasket to the inside that keeps it sealed pretty well. You don't really need to tighten this down too much. Just a little bit over hand tight. Just take your channel locks here and give a quick little. That way it moves firmly, but it's not so loose that it'll leak. Next thing we're going to do is we'll take our faucet, set inside, kind of get it lined up, make sure that it's straight. And we'll put our nuts on the bottom here. These are just plastic nuts, and you screw onto the hot and cold sides of the faucet. We'll get them on there hand tight first, and then we'll take a look at the whole faucet, make sure that it's straight on the pedestal. Always watch for this gasket up top also. Sometimes it'll get off, you won't realize it, so then it'll be sticking out one side or the other. And I'll show you that in a second. So get this hand tight. Depending on the faucet, you may have a different assembly. We'll get that hand tight and we'll take a look at it. Just make sure that it's horizontal with the back of that. If you need to correct it, do that. So here's where that gasket I was talking about. I don't know if you can see that little piece of plastic right there. If that gets off, it'll look unfinished. So you want to make sure that's straight on there with that. And that's a waterproofing gasket to keep the water from flowing down. If there's any, when you're washing your hands or turn the faucets off, that water will trickle down and come down below and leak out. So that's what that gasket's to keep that, prevent that. So now we've got this set up. I'm gonna take makes it a lot easier, especially on pedestal labs, because there's not a lot of room here to get a tool in. You can take the channel locks, you can get in there, you can kind of wedge it between there, or you can take a basin wrench, which basin wrench, and you can get in there also and then tighten it down that way. But I like this tool here. You can get this at Home Depot or any kind of supply house. Tighten it down. Now at this point, since I'm in assembly a lot, I will have my angle stops, my supply lines ready. And I will screw them on here instead of after we install it to the wall, trying to get up in there and screwing them in after there. I will have them already assembled and just waiting for the final attachment. The ones I'm using today are already, they're a different type, made more for production and to go onto Aquapex piping. So they're a little bit different, but normally that's what I will do. So if you're at home and you don't want to have to fight it once it gets to the wall, just take your supply lines off of your angle stops, which will be down where your water shutoffs are. Take them off, assemble them on here first, and then after the end, you'll have the room to connect them back to your angle stops. So what I just did here, sorry I was talking. So we have the lever. That lever is gonna, the pull handle, that lever is gonna adjust the drain. So when we want it adjusted, we want that drain to be all the way up, so that would be down. So I'll show you right here. So the lever down, our assembly will be up. When I put the lever up, obviously our assembly goes down. So we want that all the way down, that way that's nice and open, gets a lot of drainage. So we have our pull lever, we have our assembly here, and so this is going to slip up over that lever, and then it's going to hit down below on the other one. So put that in there first, and then I like to make this to get this little locking pin or whatever it is. I like to have this out straight, that way this slides over smooth. Find out where we want our assembly to be sitting once it's finished. So if this nut, if I put this, say, up here into these higher ones, by the time our assembly opens, this nut is going to hit the top of that and it's not going to open all the way. So bring your lever all the way down so your drain is open all the way. See where this nut is going to be when you're at final contact. So there we have plenty of room there, it's not going to hit. So we'll just bring that all the way down. Take that, we'll take our channel locks again. tighten it up. So now we have full movement. It's working well. This right here, if this comes with your faucet, this is for your aerator. So don't throw it away. When you disturb old pipes, or even new ones, sometimes when you go and turn the water back on, you'll have a bunch of junk that gets caught in here. So what this does, it opens up that aerator, and it has a little screen inside there. So inside there, if that screen gets blocked up with any kind of dirt or anything, your water's not going to flow. So the screen has, you see that, very tiny little holes. So if you get any kind of debris on there, or any kind of dirt or sand or anything, even Teflon tape sometimes from the assemblies, that's going to keep that water from coming out. Okay, so now our faucet and our drainer are assembled. Ready to go. We have our base. Depending on the fixture you buy, it's going to look a little bit different. Have different parts in it. This one in particular comes with these little cork gaskets. And they're really just for it to set on top of. Trying to give it some cushion there between the porcelain and porcelain. So it makes a lot of sound. It does come with this bracket, and when we move inside, I'll show you what that bracket, how to assemble that bracket if you have it. They also have two holes right here. Most of them have a hole on each side. So when you assemble, this will be screwed to the wall, and we'll get our measurement for that. And this is just going to slide down on top of that, firm up against the wall. And you can put screws through here also to keep it tight against the wall. So I will film that when it's time.